name's Annie Blight. I was born on May 13th, 1988. I came to Australia when I was nearly 2 years old. Came to Australia for the sole purpose of being adopted by my parents.
Background about your So, why were you put up for adoption?
My mother absconded from the hospital when she had me, and I was in the hospital since I was 1 year and 4 months. Then I moved to the Children's Receiving Home in Legazpi.
And was that for you to be put up for adoption?
Yes.
The living conditions of when you're in your children's home.
Well, when I was in the children's home, they didn't really have a proper incubator to put me in, so they had to use 2 big Coke liter bottles of hot water, wrap that around towels, and just put it side by side next to me until I got the proper heating conditions to actually grow, if you will.
Okay. Find out at what age that you were going to be adopted.
I've always known that I was adopted, but I think probably when I was 3, my dad told me, or 5. I was
Is
5.
this your biological father or your adoptive father?
My adoptive father. My biological father was never really found.
No. About your real parents?
Yep, I found them in 2008 when I went back to the Philippines. And we found them in Manila, but we traveled to Legazpi to find them, which is the original birthplace of myself and my mother.
Okay. Do you have siblings as well?
Yep, I have 3 other half-sisters, all from different fathers.
And you said that you visited them in the Philippines?
Yes,
And can you explain your trip to the Philippines?
when I visited them.
When you visited them, where did you visit them? Like which city? And can you explain how you felt going back to the Philippines and explain the living conditions there?
Well, when we first decided to look for my parents was back in 2008. We went to Legazpi and we searched for my mother first, and we went to different barangay captains, which was in the area, and we pretty much asked them if they've seen a Marie Joy Malate. And apparently the barangay captain was married to relatives, which has the last name Malate, recognized my facial features and said I remind her of one of her relatives. So she pretty much told the barangay captain, and then he went off and told somebody else, which happened to be my uncle. So my uncle went and told my mom about the whole situation, about how a girl, I think, one of the people that could help us find her. And so we were traveling around the whole of Legazpi trying to find them. And I think on the second night we found her, and it was pretty exciting. I was eating while we found her, so I couldn't really eat after that.
And did you actually get a chance to stay at your biological mother's home?
Yes, I did.
How did you find the conditions there compared to, say, Australia?
Very different. When I first arrived to live with her for about 2 days, just to see how it feels like, and also to get to know the family and stuff, we arrived at the place where we were supposed to get picked up, and I thought, there was a house over there, so I thought they had pretty good living conditions until one of our sister's husbands had to take us down an alleyway and then down through another, I guess, laneway over a bridge, which is surrounded by water, and then you'd have to go up again, and then they just lived in a small shack kind of thing that was just made out of like wood and concrete. It was very small as well.
Did they have many rooms, beds?
Well, my mother's house is connected to my sister's house, 2 of my sister's house, my 2 older sisters, and I'd probably say that their house would be about the same size.
They were quite poor, and you said that there was how many people living inside that small house?
Well, there was my mother and my sister that lives in one of the houses, and then they shared another room with my 2 other sisters with their family. So my older sister She has a husband and she now has 3 children. My second older sister has 1 child but is planning on having another child. And my youngest sister is now 16. So let's hope she doesn't end up like my mum.
So do you know why your mother gave you up, your biological mother gave you up for adoption? Like, was it because she couldn't take care of you or couldn't afford to?
Well, my mum was going through financial issues because she already had 2 older children of her own by the same father. And then she wrote me a letter to say what happened because I asked her about it. And she said that pretty much she met my father while she was working as a receptionist. And they got to know each other and obviously stuff happened. And she found out that she was pregnant and she told my dad, but he didn't really want a kid, so she left him, and then she didn't know whether or not to have me or abort me, I guess. And she told her friend about it, and she's like, no, just keep the baby. So she kept me. She had me at Legazpi, and she still didn't know whether to keep me or not, in a way. So she decided to leave because she had financial issues, and then after she left, she went to Manila, which she now lives in, and she took her 2 oldest daughters after she made enough money to build a house with her. Nationality is, well, my mum's half Chinese, half Filipino, and my dad's Australian.
And were they raised in the Philippines? Why did they choose you?
Oh, well, they didn't really choose me per se. The government did, because they had to go through an adoptive process. They had to go through legal issues as well. Well, my mum and my dad wanted to have children, but I just guess they couldn't really. So they had to go to the Philippines to have a look at. I don't know, so much issues.
But why didn't they choose, say, a Chinese child or a American child?
I guess it's because my mom is from the Philippines, and so she wanted to have a child from that area as well, because my mom grew up there. And pretty much that's about it.
Also, why did your adoptive parents decide to bring you back to Australia and not raise you in the Philippines?
My adoptive parents decided to raise me here because it's pretty much better living conditions than over in the Philippines. You have much more better opportunities here. You get better lifestyle. You actually can get a job. You can get education. So much better over here, than over there.
Do you think your life would be different if you stayed in the Philippines, and if you do, in what way?
Definitely different if I stayed in the Philippines, because if I stayed in the Philippines, I wouldn't have very much opportunities because it's very hard to get a job there, as well as also the living conditions. There's not really much healthy water there unless you get it in bottled water, but that's not even safe sometimes. My name's Annie Blight. I was born on May 13th, 1988. I came here to Australia for the sole purpose of being adopted and to have a better life here than in the Philippines.